Many of you have been wondering, who is that guy following me around at the Black Bear Film Festival with the camera? That is Dennis Sema. And he is an actor, a producer, a director, and a writer, a poet. He wears many hats, as many creative people do, but I think one of the coolest things I found out about him at the film festival is he has his own genre of horror film. And as a person being into horror films, I can't wait to hear about The Purple Umbrella. Take it away.
Thank you. So The Purple Umbrella is my fourth short horror film, actually.
Fourth one, wow.
Yes, just obviously take a very different approach to what I've been doing before. This one is fully black and white. There's a bit of a gag in the film as well in terms of the coloration. The film is in black and white except for, obviously...
For one part.
Yes,
Yeah.
that being the purple umbrella.
There you go.
which is interesting because I remember initially people were kind of confused. Wait a minute, this is a black and white movie, and yet the title is The Purple Umbrella. Then
I love that, right? Because they weren't expecting The Purple Umbrella.
Exactly.
Even though that's the title of the movie.
Precisely. And this time I decided to basically just act, direct, do everything myself.
Yeah.
Obviously there was another actor in the film, but I primarily did much of the work. And what is really nice about these types of projects is you have just total outright creative control.
Absolutely.
I find, which is just really neat. You have nobody telling you what to do or how to act. Of course, you always try to be as authentic as possible with what you're making, but at least you don't have any level of authority.
But and what you're calling level of authority, right? I'm talking about the ability of you as the creative entity to be organic.
Yes.
It can be completely organic, and there's something to be said for that.
I highly appreciate that. And that really comes out of self-reliance,
Yeah.
I think, because in the world of art, and especially pertaining to filmmaking, the more you can do, the better. So if you can direct yourself or write yourself or just try to gain a foothold in just about every aspect of production as possible, you do not have to rely on anyone else, which I really like.
Okay, and you're preaching to the converted here. Like, everyone makes fun of me. I run around taking selfies all the time, but there is a reason for that. I know how to light it. I know how to capture the exact moment, and my pictures will come out way different than someone taking a picture of me because it's a second, it's a nanosecond of an emotion. And when you're doing your own film the way you're describing, that's exactly what you're doing. And anything that appears on the screen is totally self-motivated, self-created, and what you're feeling at the moment. And we all know there's something to be said for that. Now, but we're also talking about the world of shorts and independent films. I was about to say, when you get into the real world and you have to work on a set, your hands are tied behind your back. I'm often given a script that it's like, who wrote this thing? And why am I saying these lines? But I'm happy to be being paid as a performer, but it's very stifling. So The Purple Umbrella really it's freedom. It's a short that's really about freedom to do your own thing. What makes your genre of horror different from other horror that's out there?
Well, over the last couple of years, I've been really hard at work trying to hone filmmaking as much as possible. And one consequence of this is, after consuming horror my entire life, whether it be reading horror stories or watching...
Now we're getting the whole story, okay? So I didn't know any of this, okay?
Right. Time to tap into it.
Yeah.
After consuming all of that and just spending a great deal of time really in the worlds of literature and film in terms of horror, I just decided to, okay, well, as wonderful as consuming is, time to create.
Yeah, there you go.
And what is also interesting, I suppose, to say, and this is something that I was actually kind of hesitant to say at first, but for a lot of people, when they go about their daily routine and find themselves in a almost perpetual situation where they see horror just about everywhere, they could be doing laundry, they could be driving their car, but then they see elements of horror just about everywhere mentally, that would drive them crazy, that would drive them mad. But to me, as I've always said, I never really embraced horror despite loving it. I've succumbed to it.
I love it. You've succumbed to horror. Well, you know, all around in our existence, honestly, you can generate it in a film or in a performance. But when you think about what surrounds us,
yes,
if you think about the news, the media, a cliche, but Netflix, a lot of what is bought for Netflix, there's such similarities between the films, and it really drives me insane because it's like it's almost like the scripts are AI written,
Exactly.
and so are the locations they shoot on. I'm like, wait a minute, I saw that same location in another Netflix film. So there's something to be said about the horror in our everyday lives.
Absolutely.
You have an outlet for it, at least.
Oh, most definitely. An outlet to express oneself. And this is where my sort of genre comes in, my vision, where you take an everyday example, such as children playing on a playground.
Yeah.
But then if you were to record that for a film, let's say, and then make it in black and white, slow down the audio, and then...
God, now it's a twisted thing. I can see it already.
Exactly. Essentially, taking the mundane, taking the ordinary, and making it extraordinary.
Right.
Essentially. Which, of course, throughout film history, that has happened before, but never to the level that I really would love to explore.
Right.
And that is where a lot of my ideas really stem from, both in terms of writing stories and making films.
It's interesting because when you painted this picture of the playground and then you put it into black and white and then you slowed it down, I had the music playing in my head that's going to go behind it. So
Lovely.
yeah, it's like it's bringing all those components together and really creating a unique product. Although like horror right now, it's hot. It's very hot.
It really
all
is.
different
Yes.
genres of horror are people love it.
Flourishing.
Yeah, it is flourishing, and I think I told you I'm in a film called Dragged to Death, and
Yes.
it turned out to be the greatest comedy ever, and is screening all over. And all the actors in it, I'll just say, are of a certain age. We're playing this thing out in Brooklyn to 25-year-olds. They love it. They're screaming my name. I'm like,
That is the audience.
I know, but we would have never thought. We were originally playing it in New
Right,
York
exactly,
and
right.
bars where we knew people that were like us went, but you don't know Dennis. That's the whole thing. And I think what is really interesting to me about you're still really experimenting at your art form. You're finding your legs at it and everything else. This
Absolutely.
is your fourth film, you said?
Correct. Fourth horror film.
Fourth horror film. So I can't wait till next year at the Black Bear Film Festival when you have a submission to see where you've gone with it and what it is.
It is always a progression, and one thing I'd like to say as well is, obviously I've been working on a feature film for quite a number of years now, but the primary reason as to why I craft these short films is to hone my filmmaking skills and abilities
Of course, yeah.
as stepping stones to make myself ready for that feature film project.
Right.
Which hopefully I'm looking at should be released towards the end of the 2020s. But
oh, that's exciting. That would be so great here at the Black Bear Film Festival to have
absolutely.
your feature. It's interesting what you said about honing your skill by doing shorts, because there's still the thing. Yes, I agree with you, but there's still the thing with a feature film, and we've all seen it. Sometimes it just goes on too long.
Exactly.
And you can tell, like, oh my God, why didn't they edit this out or that out? Whereas with a short form film, you have perimeters.
Precisely.
And that's what you got to work in. I just went to screening at the 48-hour film festival. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
You heard about it, right? And I have someone I worked with who was in it, and I couldn't give my time to be in one of her films, but I wanted to go support her. That really blew me away because they literally had 48 hours to come up with like a 12-minute film. And it looked like everyone was given the same theme. And it was so extraordinary what each filmmaker did with it.
Oh, yes.
And how they cast it and how they saw it and how they worked. I'm sure they were given one element that had to be in every film. And I think in this one, it was a bug exterminator. It was just really crazy. But some of the films were really dark. Some were really funny. But they all had to incorporate bug exterminator. They had a limited parameter, I think maybe 12 to 15 minutes. And you had 48 hours to pull the whole thing together from when they gave you the concept, getting your cast and all of that. That's really not easy to me.
It is not easy whatsoever. The ability there's two things here. First of all, it is absolutely not easy to make a short film, or films in general.
Yeah.
But with short films, usually you're running on a great deal of constraints. Obviously, you are working with low budgets. That is the first thing. It is just difficult. The second thing, it is also difficult to tell a cohesive and robust narrative
Within
a short runtime, essentially. So 5, 10, 15 minutes. But if you can manage to do that, then you essentially have it made.
Right. You absolutely do. And obviously, you have mastered that. And you're well on your way to your feature. And how did you become an intern for the Black Bear Film Festival?
Well, really through the number one mechanism to really make it in the film industry, that being networking.
Yeah, it is. This is true.
Enrolling at a certain college allowed me to speak to a great deal of professors.
Smart.
And then after sort of talking to these professors and such, I landed a position as the intern for the Black Bear Film Festival. And I really
and you had to be thrilled.
I was absolutely thrilled, just working on the website design for the festival, the marketing, everything, the planning, even spreadsheets in terms of budgeting and whatnot.
So they really did have you doing all of that.
Absolutely, and I loved it. It was a wonderful learning curve in general.
Yeah, well, Dennis will be able to produce his own festival, but don't have it in northeastern Pennsylvania, and don't have it this time of year. Thrilled to be able to interview you, and really looking forward to seeing your film tomorrow. What time is the Purple Umbrella is going to be at? I have my little directory here, and I don't have the schedule in front of me.
It is the final film to play in the short film block at the Black Bear Film Festival, which begins at 12:45, and I think I want to say 2 o'clock.
You think around 2? Okay, because it's 8 minutes. It's okay. It's what I call a shorty short.
Yes.
Watch for Dennis Sema, a name that you are going to be hearing about in the future. And please try and come tomorrow and check out his film. If you can't make it tomorrow, where can people find more of your films?
Well, on my YouTube channel, actually.
Of course, he had a YouTube channel. I had a reason for asking that. See, you didn't even tell me that. And what is your YouTube channel called?
Just my name, Dennis, DENNIS, Sema, SEMA. Then you'll find me.
Easy peasy on YouTube, and good to know. Good for me to know. I have a YouTube channel also, Wendy Stuart TV.
Yes, you do.
all day long. Thank you so much, Dennis. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the interviews we're going to shoot here.
I know. I very much look forward to that as well. It's so fun being in front of the camera after being behind the camera for so long.
I'm looking at the camera, and I know it's a little confusing because Dennis is here. There's no one behind the camera, and yet this interview is happening. And that is the magic of film.